yeah, I'm excited to dive in. Basically, just to frame the call, we will start with your background, industry trends you're seeing, discuss any current challenges, where you want to be in the next year or so, and we'll wrap up any sort of next steps if they make sense. So, whole conversation should take no longer than about 25, 30 minutes or so. And then if you ever want me to clarify something or you're not sure how to answer it, I can just cut that out and no problems at all. Yes, this
Sounds great.
shot of the this shot looks good. So,
Okay, great.
great. Yes. So, thanks so much for joining me here today. I'm excited to dive in. I wanted to ask you how and why did you decide to start Noomalooma?
Yeah. So I'm Lakshmi, born and raised in India, and I grew up chasing perfect grades. And I was always told like play is a waste of time. So I was always in this whole like spirit of go, go, go. Like did my engineering MBA and then got into big tech. It was a wildly fulfilling ride. But there was always something that was missing. So I was always finding myself asking this question, is this all there is to life? So I took a gap year, which was such a privilege back when I was studying, but I had the unprivilege to take a gap year last year. So I engineered serendipity for myself. I call it like the eat, play, love journey. I created community experiences just to meet people from different walks of life and see how people are, like living their lives. And play really helped me reconnect myself with my inner voice, find new community, and also like discover what really keeps me alive. And then I started diving into a lot of research around like what is it about play and creativity that helps self-discovery and that helps spark new connections. And I kind of realized that my personal quest could potentially become a collective calling. And then there were a lot of macro industry trends that we were observing, right? Like one is obviously like the loneliness epidemic, and the world is increasingly more disconnected than ever. And people were looking for ways and means to like bring people back together and feel more connected and belonged in the society that we live in, right? And then there were trends in wellness where art and creativity are beginning to be prescribed as medicine. So there are companies like Art Pharmacy that does it, and all of these initiatives are scaling in multiple states in the US, which has been extremely inspiring and invigorating. And then if you look at creativity, right, like we're seeing a lot of people craving for authentic human creative expression, but they don't find ways and means to do it. They don't know who to do it with. They don't know how to get started. And there is this whole notion where people associate creativity with the big C creativity, where it's all about like talent, mastery, skill. But creativity at the end of the day is really how you show up in this world, right? Like it is about the little things that you do. How do you whip up a recipe when two ingredients are missing? Or how do you like pick two like outfits that kind of express who you are to the world and stuff like that. So that's kind of where we want to take this. And then last summer I serendipitously met my co-founder, and we shared a very very similar worldview of what the future looks like, with play and a lot of creativity. And then here we are.
Amazing. Well, that's so exciting. And I agree. I think there is not enough creativity in our world. And I think it can sometimes be this daunting task, or people believe, oh, well, I'm not artistic, I'm not creative, I'm not this. But it really can take just something so simple. Like you mentioned, oh, how do I make a meal out of two ingredients? Or how can I add just a little bit more play to my life. So I know that in our previous call you had mentioned, and we can either do something like this right now or later on in our call, but if we were to do something, whip up something right now, what would we do?
Well, in today's day and age where everything is so fast and frenetic, people often don't even make eye contact. So
Hmm.
maybe we do like a 30-second no-look portrait where we draw each other like screen across screens, and we don't look at the paper, but we really look at each other and see
Okay.
how the portraits come out.
Okay.
What do you
Let's
think?
do it. That sounds great.
Okay,
I
then.
had a notebook with me here somewhere. I did. I literally had it ready beforehand, but oh, here it is. I was like, no, I
Amazing.
definitely had it. Let's do it. All right. I'll look at 30 seconds on the clock and
Okay,
let's go. All
let's
right.
go.
I can't look that like trying to.
Really love your shirt.
Thanks. I thought it'd be fun for our call
I
today.
know, it's so playful, the colors.
Felt like I was like, I'm gonna match the brand.
Love.
All right. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Oh, I'm gonna unblur real fast. Oops. Voila!
okay then. Voila, that's cute. We got to take a picture of the two of us this way.
Yeah, amazing.
Amazing.
Great. So I will have that. We'll see how we include that on the podcast, but it'll be great. I think
That's
it'll be
great.
really fun. Um, I'll fast forward it. I think that's how it will work.
Yeah.
So, what do you feel like has been working well for you and your business? What do you think has been a little bit more frustrating?
Right. I think we're just getting started, like super early in the journey, right? And we've been extremely lucky to have found AI residency this early in the journey. So that's been like an insane springboard for us. So we got in as entrepreneurs in residence, and we're building something that is design forward, something that is community native and AI native. Like people today like talk a lot about like, oh, let's build an AI native product with humans in the loop. But we are flipping that whole narrative, and we're building something that keeps the humans in the front and center of what we are building. So that is almost a counter narrative to how we are creating. And we're also like not building in stealth. We created a learning lab of people who are early believers in the vision and people who kind of belong to the user personas that we've identified. And then we rapidly tested like shitty prototypes with people to like actively reject ideas, actively like get reactions on what are people liking and what are people, not resonating with, right? And that's really, really helped us shape what we want to build. And it also helped us articulate what the design tenets for the product would look like, right? Because what we're building is not a creative tool where you're just like staring at the screen. Like we want people to do like real world creative acts. So the challenge and hence the opportunity of having a digital product that inspires creative acts in the real world is how do you balance, right? Like how do you make it so intuitive and so delightful that people are actually doing the acts in the real world, and then like they're coming to the digital product to seek their creative crew, to cheer what other people are making, and those kinds of things, right? So that's kind of where we are still like figuring out what that balance would be, where we are making people like toggle between the two worlds. And then personally, like the kind of products that I built back in big tech, we have always focused on efficiency as a delighter, as a customer delighter. So how do we auto populate this for the customer? How do we eliminate like number of steps and those kinds of things? And now for me to like think about like what does whimsy and what does delight in a digital product look like, etc., it's just like a mental model shift. And I think that's where being part of this residency also helped us immensely. It kind of gave us like new perspectives in terms of how do we think about the product, how do we chunk it up to test like different components of the product. So that's kind of where we are. What's really exciting about what we are building is it's almost in the intersection of social wellness and tech. If you look at any of the social media platforms that exist today, it's all more media, less social. And everybody is, falling prey to the algorithms, and it's all becoming a performance, right? So when we were testing creative challenges in many of these platforms, what we realized was the whole container, which is a performative container, is really not working for the kind of product that we want to build, right? So we want to build something that is anti-performative. You're not going to have social currency, but we are thinking about designing new incentive structures that make people feel seen. Because that's a fundamental core human need. And how do we also create incentive structures that amplify human creative potential versus people having to do something to fit an existing container or an existing algorithm, right? So those are all new design challenges and paradigms that we are thinking through. So I would say it's both an immense challenge and a huge opportunity as well.
Yeah, so I'm hearing you say that just the algorithms, the disconnect that we're seeing in our day and age, and what do you feel like you are most focused on improving, whether that be metrics within your own company or in general?
Right. Um, if I look at the larger picture, we want to build a more joyful world, right? Like joy and connection is really our business's compass. So when we talk about like bite-sized everyday rituals, like it's really about like what is that 5 minute joy burst that you can get out of making something for 5 minutes by replacing 50 scrolls or 50 doom scrolls in a day, right? So that instant mood lift and also like self discovery and connection over time. So these are really the metrics that we are focused on at this stage, which is like super early. Like we're thinking about like how do we build better rituals, right? Any habit or any ritual is going to take time, and what is the right environment, context, and incentive, the right kind of incentives that we need to design on the digital product, which helps people complete a creative ritual with more joy and it feeling less of a chore or a burden, right? So that's kind of our primary focus area, which is really like building better and joyful ritual designs.
Amazing. Yeah, I think you bring up a really valid point is for someone who's not engaging in any sort of creativity or is just going through the day to day, how do you get them to then implement a ritual or
Right.
how do you get them to actually engage with your application, your platform?
That's our initial goal. And we've also been reading a lot of behavioral sciences. And one of the things that we are very excited to test is stackability of a creative ritual. So you don't need to add like a separate chunk of time in your calendar, right? But there are existing routines, and there's a lot of dead time in the day, right? Like where you don't know what you want to do in between meetings, you don't know what you're going to do when you're folding laundry or during your commute to work, right? So, how do we pick these moments through the day and make those a lot more alive, more joyful, and make it more creative? So, what is it that you can pair with your morning coffee, or what is it that you can pair with your, commute to work? So, that's kind of how we are thinking about rituals so that people don't feel overwhelmed or they don't go like, okay, even if it is 5 minutes, oh my God, like, where do I find 5 minutes on my calendar? It's already there. We're just stacking on top of it, and hopefully, the joy kind of makes you do more of that every day. And then we also want to have community on the platform where there could be like 100 other people who are doodling during their commutes and they're sharing their doodles, and then you get to share and cheer what other people make as well, right? So group accountability, stackability, and then like cheering in an anti-performative space. Like these are kind of our three pillars in terms of how we are designing better creative rituals.
Yeah, exactly. And so leading from that, where do you hope to be in the next 6 months, 12 months from now?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, as I said, like the last 10 weeks at the AI residency, it's been a springboard, and we completed our brand design, and we've also designed what our initial early prototype would be. So, in the next 1 month, we are planning to do a closed beta on test flight to, basically test it out and then see what improvements we'll need to make to, open up to a more public beta. Our wait list is already live, so whoever is interested, like creatively curious, a creative professional who's strapped for time and want to explore creativity and community, please sign up, and it's on Noomalooma.com. So hopefully in the next like 6 months we would do a public launch. And then, as I was telling earlier, like Noomalooma is intentionally URL plus IRL, right? We want a digital product, and we want the digital product to really build the daily bite-sized rituals, and make creativity a tool that you have to, like feel more alive in the day. And then the IRL or in-person experiences that we are creating is really to give ourselves permission to play in a productivity obsessed world, and also to deepen connection. Right. So we have launched Noomalooma Originals, like 4 to 5 event formats in New York. And then we are hoping to like reuse the same kinds of formats during winter. Like a lot of people undergo seasonal depression, like people crave for creativity and community. So that's something that we plan to scale and, really deepen our engagement with our local community in New York. And we want to expand to multiple cities as well, right? So we want this to be intentionally both digital as well as in person. And we want to build a play catalyst network, right? Because we are a two-person team now, but we need more play in the world, and we want to sow seeds of creativity, people who are catalysts, people who are creating micro communities through the tools and the resources that we're giving. So by 6 months, hopefully, we would have opened up our beta to a wider audience for the digital app. And then we would have expanded beyond New York to maybe 2 or 3 cities for in person experiences, and built a 50-member Numaluma Catalyst Network who are working with us to spread joy and play in a world that is always optimizing for efficiency and productivity.
Ugh, I love it. It's so incredible. And so saying that, what you said, expansion, having more joyful worlds, what would you say is your North Star or your guiding light that really, gets you out of bed in the morning and pushes you forward?
Right. Whenever I'm part of a brainstorming meeting where, we're asked to like sketch prototypes, etc., literally 8 out of 10 people start by saying, "Oh, I'm not an artist. I'm not good at drawing, but here's what it is." Like, we don't want to hear that phrase anymore, right? Like, a 5-year-old kid doesn't say that. And we want to build and inspire more creative confidence in the world. And what that means is, regardless of situation, regardless of circumstance, like we are navigating life with confidence, and we have belief in ourselves that we would find creative solutions in whatever ways possible. So that is really the North Star. And with that as the mindset, you would be a lot more open to new connections. You would invite more joy in your life. So our North Star is like, we always imagine this world to be a giant playground, right? Like what happens in a kid's playground, right? Like it's not like people know each other. People make friends, people, figure and collaborate and find solutions to a new game. If somebody falls down, there are strangers who are kind of helping the person, and the person stands up and continues to play, right? So a joyful playground as an analogy for the world is really our North Star.
Amazing. Well, thank you for sharing. Thank you for joining me here today, Lakshmi. It's been such a joy and pleasure to get to know you, your company, Numaluma, and get to play. I hope
I
that
know, that was so fun.
that was so fun. I really enjoyed that. I'm gonna look at it again. Maybe it'll keep me company throughout my day. Um, But so people can find you at Noomalooma.com. They can join your beta program.
Yes.
Say anything that I have maybe missed on, how to get in touch.
Well, as as with anything around play, the more the merrier. So if you're curious about the product or if you're really passionate about the vision and you have like new ideas that you want to bounce off, like my DMs are open. You can find me on LinkedIn or Instagram. I would love to have conversations around, what your thoughts are, and things like that. And if you're interested to like join the beta, not just for the digital product, but also if you're a creative community builder and you want to explore synergies, nurture communities and micro communities in your city, reach out to us and we'll figure ways to like explore and partner. This is really, really built with people, right? So the more, the merrier, obviously. It was lovely talking to you, Rachel, and thank you so much for reaching out and all of the thoughtful questions. I really enjoyed the conversation too. And playing with you.
Thank you, Lakshmi.